This is amazing, you guys. This is actually amazing. This is history in reverse. In 1970, Dodge has this idea for a pony car called the Dodge Challenger. 2014, is that 44 years later?
Right.
They come out with a plum crazy Challenger, and look at the similarities between these two cars. What do you think, guys? You want to hop in and go for a ride? Dude, are you crazy? Back up and tell the story.
On this special episode of Graveyard Carz, the Ghouls completely restore the 1970 Dodge Challenger RT 440 6-pack in Plum Crazy, taking it from rusted out to resurrected, revealing never-before-seen footage of the paint, engine build, and assembly. And we reveal the painstaking details that make original equipment restorations worth every penny to collectors. Coming up on this episode of Graveyard Carz.
When the 6-pack Challenger showed up, it had sat for a long time, like many of the cars that we have here had done previously. I think that it had sat since like 78 or 79, so that's a long time. That's 25, 30 years. So it was in dire straits. You know, the 6-pack Challenger is very similar in its appearance to our sunroof Challenger that we did last season. In the case of this Challenger, it was rusty. It had a lot of rust to it. And so the only way to really cure the rust is to submerge it. So on that car, that was kind of an absolute gotta do it that way. Let's get it dipped. But in the end, it is a really, really clean job, and it is necessary for a rusty car. The importance of pre-fitting panels before you even start doing your first weld cannot be understated. The duplication of the spot welds, I don't know on an everyday driver car if it's important to have the exact spacing, the exact depth, the exact appearance. I think it's important to spot weld. The factory spot welded for a reason. So we do it because Chrysler did it. We try to emulate it the way Chrysler did it, but not everyone has to be perfect. Looks good, guys. Nice work. Really nice. Thank you. Once you get a car back from the dipper or the media blaster, it's bare metal. It's raw, bare metal. So our protocol is as soon as that car comes back from the dipper and it's vulnerable in that state and it's bare metal, we immediately epoxy it. The epoxy it will put on a impervious barrier so that the moisture can't get in from the outside, and it also can't soak up from the inside out. Moving into the new building created a bit of a roadblock for us. Once we got in here and were able to get back to work again, the pre-paint work had been done on our Challenger, but the final paint I really wanted Will to do. I wanted him to do it in the new booth. Will Scott, he's back as my painter. When he came to work for me, he was fresh out of high school, just a babe in the woods, right? He came to me, I taught him how to do collision repair paint work, and he was phenomenal at it.
I mean, you had a small hand in it.
No, I had the hand in it.
Not the hand, you had a small hand in it.
I had the nice toes.
Nice ears.
Nice toes.
Nose.
What
Look
are
at that.
those
Look
things?
At that. Look at that.
They're
That's
like
thin.
there's like 5 Twinkies on the end of each foot.
You're fat.
Look at
me.
you. You big stretch mark.
Oh.
You know, Will's been doing a really good job. I'm proud of him. It takes a lot to kind of relearn where you started, like he started with the collision work, and be able to slow down and pay attention to what I'm saying. He's grown up a lot too since he was here. While normally I just beat the employees down, I gotta say when an employee's good, he's good. Okay, I wanna block this hood out, so I wanna flip this over so we can block the other side and down. Okay. So I wanna work with you on this, it's very important. You see, that's when did we do it, on the 12th? Yep.
312.
So I think I'm gonna go 220 and 320. 320 can glide over the top of this peel and leave some peel in it, and you'll never get it out. 220 will take the peel out. I wanna use guide code on it.
Okay.
So remember, we just want to make sure that we're cross-blocking and that we're not causing dents in it, okay? Set our panel down there, just like we did on those deck lids.
Right.
Any last-minute little wows, highs or lows, you can see microscopically, there's a little low right there. So that's our job now, to take that out. You've been studying them codes like I've been talking to you about? So if I said to you like a D21, what transmission is that?
That's before the D22.
No?
Yeah.
There's no D22. Now watch your peak down here. Very important right here. You erase that peak. It's very gentle on the Challenger. It doesn't even exist here. Then just barely, not even enough to see it, it starts coming in there. Then a little bit more, and a little more aggressive. And by here, it's fairly definitive.
So you wouldn't like run like a tape line to help see it, like a body line? Or?
You could, yeah. Yeah, you could run a tape line on it. Let's do it.
So now you can't screw up that edge at all then.
No, you're pretty protected at that point. You hit that tape and it'll just jump over the top of it, still leave that defined line.
Okay.
Again, 220 is not very aggressive, but it will take those orange peels out. We've got a bow in the hood, so we want to bow it. Come back and comb it. See, we got a nice line there right down the middle of the hood. Should come down evenly between these two letters because this is the center of the hood right here where the D goes.
So does it matter that you're hitting that edge over
This one right in here. You got to be a
right
little
here
careful.
when you're going this way and hitting it there?
But look at it, it's barely cutting, so I'm pretty cautious of it. Willie's been doing a good job. He's been learning quick. This is his first exterior body panel that he's going to be painting. It's a little bit like Mr. Miyagi and Daniel-san, huh? You're like Daniel-san, and I'm like
Well,
Mr.
I kind
Miyagi.
of figured as much.
Why are you trying to cut this peak down?
Well, no, I
Does
stopped.
that peak
I
offend
stopped.
you?
Well, no, it doesn't offend me. I stopped short.
Are you upset by it? You hate that peak?
No, that's why I stopped. And then did I go over it?
Yeah, it looked like you were starting
I
to comb
didn't.
over it just a little bit.
No,
and so, I mean, if the peak bothers you, we can get hold of Walter Chrysler and.
Peak doesn't bother me.
Oh, you hate that peak? Yeah. You want me to get a hammer and you
Look
can
where
beat the
it's-
living tar out of that peak?
It's right there.
You hate the peak.
I stopped.
First thing you got to do is admit you got a problem. You hate that peak.
Well, then why did we take the tape off?
Because you're nowhere near the peak.
Well, apparently,
But
the
you go
feet.
over there. You,
The feet?
no, I'm just saying, if you hate the peak, you hate the peak. It's okay, but just I'm gonna vote to keep the peak there. So if you could just kind
And I
of stay on
agree.
this half of it right here.
Right. And like I said, that's why I stopped short.
Lower your voice. Don't get crazy. Everything's working out fine. Remember the arc. Remember the arc. You're doing an awesome job. I just want to remember the arc and not kill the peak.
There's no peak up here. Remember we talked about that?
No, it does flatten out up here.
Right.
But let's not put one in it.
Oh, I agree.
Okay.
So I was setting the block up here. Then I was going to bend it a little bit, right?
Arc it, sure. He's young, he's a good painter, but confidence is something that you earn and you learn and you train yourself to say, I can do that. And so to give him a six-figure car that needs to be perfect, like all of our cars do, but yet the pre-paint work was done, this was his chance to really shine. And that's why I wanted it done here. I wanted it in the new booth so it was spotless, and I wanted Will behind that gun, gaining that confidence that he's gonna need for the next 100 cars that go through Graveyard Cars.
Stay tuned. There's more to reveal on this epic Wreck to Riches restoration as the GYC Ghouls bring back the iconic 446-pack Challenger. Don't miss a second of this episode of Graveyard Cars.
This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report.
Right now, Will's getting ready to walk in the booth and shoot our FC7 Plum Crazy Challenger, DBC 2210. Covers in
3.5.
3.5 coats. And you pretty excited?
Extremely excited.
Yeah.
First car I've been able to paint since I've been back, and we'll see how it comes out.
Nervous?
Nope.
Just saying.
Little bit.
I would be.
Why?
Yeah. Well.
Well, I've seen yours, and I know I can do better than that.
Oh!
So,
Oh, well, I can't wait to see this then.
good.
Well, good. Best of luck to you on that.
Thank you.
Good. What he's getting at is, I had a couple of faux pas on my 70 Charge.
Two?
Once again, I had a couple of faux pas on my 70
Couple's
Charger
two.
paint. Yeah, it was two. It was
Oh.
two little bitty mishaps because my carpal tunnel locked up on me, the paint gun was new, and you were watching me, making me nervous. Anyway, it doesn't matter how many times you've been around the track. It's getting across the finish line that counts. And I'm across the finish line.
I'll just be across
You
the finish
are at the
line
beginning
quicker.
of the finish
Right.
line, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
I wish
I know
luck.
you mean that.
Now, you know, one of the things that you're going to want to do is cover the car with paint.
Right.
Go get him, Tiger. Go
Thank
get
you.
Remember,
You're not going to be doing that, are you?
nah, I'm just going to watch.
Okay.
Okay. He did a phenomenal job. Absolutely as close to perfect as you can get. And it is a relief for me to know that because I don't have the time. I'm the first to tell you, I'm no spring chicken. Painting a car is not easy, and you know that. Your shoulder got
Yes.
sore.
Sweating, 20 pounds overweight. It's a ton of work.
Very good job. Very nice work. You can go ahead and clean your paint gun, and we are done. Cut. Here's the thing. It is a nice job. He did a phenomenal job. I mean, I've never had a painter other than myself lay it out that nicely before. He was kind of like saying, oh, I did the best job ever, you know, and...
Are we still rolling, Mark? I thought you said cut.
No, no, we're cut. I don't know why they're...
What's going on?
You guys don't even follow instructions?
Oh, you said we're cut.
No, I was
turned
talking
around,
to
I
Nick
looked out,
about
and
we're
you were,
going
like,
camping
talking.
this weekend. I don't know.
You're
It
going
must be
camping?
behind the scenes stuff.
Oh, it is?
Good work, bud. Nice job.
Thanks.
Awesome. Let's get that Charger out. We'll start wet sanding on it, Haas.
Oh, I got to wet sand the parts first.
Well, we're going to do it, huh?
I got to get the parts finished, get the purple.
Okay. Yeah. You did a good job, man.
Hey.
In the case of the Challenger, once it's all painted and it has an opportunity to cure for 7 days, that's my requirement here, it's ready for the wet sanding and the buffing. And so that's just a fairly simple process, but it's labor intensive.
Sneak up on me like that? You have to do a wet sand and buff. I know Mark will come out and say, hey, the paint job was perfect that he just did, but there's still orange peel, there's still little dirt nibs that that's an absolute must to get these cars looking show quality. Factory didn't do any buffing. There's a mass-produced, spray it and be done situation. And they're still doing it today.
Good job doing that. Is it rotate real nice?
It sure does.
Let me try it real quick. Oh yeah, look at that, sweet. Okay. Now we're at the fun part where we actually get to build out the 446 pack numbers matching engine for our Challenger RT. That's part of the job. And then we can put the timing cover on, then we can turn it upside down, we can put the fuel pump on it and the oil pan.
Okay.
So, Mike's doing a great job at Graveyard Carz, excellent addition. He's got all the pieces and the parts, nuts, bolts, and hardware cleaned, wire wheeled, and ready to go on the engine. So we can proceed with the final assembly. Move it down a little bit there, okay. Oh God, that was a clean.
Yep, that was, just hand me a hammer. You'll just shove it in there with a hammer.
Just try to, yeah, just do your best to support it all the way through here.
Perfect.
Like, yay. Okay. Okay, here's our zero mark. So we want to put that on the crankshaft, right there. And that leaves this dot lined up. So we know we're okay to go in. All we got to do is probably draw that cam out a little bit. Yep, it's a little bit much here. Okay. It's really. There it is, okay. The paint code FY1 represents the yellow in 1970 on the Dodge and Plymouth cars. On the Dodge model, what is its official name? Is it Lemon Twist Yellow, Top Banana Yellow, or Banana Nana Fofana Fee Fi Momana Banana Yellow? The answer coming up after the break.
This station will remain on the air day and night.
So what did Dodge refer to the FY1 color as? The answer, Top Banana Yellow. Lemon Twist was the Plymouth version of the same color, but they called it Lemon Twist. Banana Nana Fofana Fee Fi Momana Banana was a song they called The Name Game. Surprised you didn't know that.
The unburied dead are coming back to life.
Rotate it around a few times. I always like to just be sure that it didn't get a false reading, because right there it looks like it's perfect, right? And if you rotate it around once, it could be off a little bit. So you just want to be sure. Right now is the time, not when it's in the car and all detailed up. This is a fuel pump push rod. This push rod goes up through this hole right here. This galley plugs out. This slides up through here. This slides up into here. When it goes into position, it goes up against the camshafts. Right here you can see it's hitting the fuel pump. Right here you can see it's hitting the camshaft. The camshaft has an eccentric built onto the front of it, a lobe, just like a cam lobe that would lift up a lifter. And so what happens is when that comes by here, that lobe hits it, it pushes this down, and then this springs back up, down, back up, down. When it does that, it comes down, it engages with this. So if this is relaying off the camshaft, going through this rod, pushing this down, that's when you get hear that? I'm manually operating that arm. So now, if this was in the car, this engine would be setting level, right?
Right.
Think about when it sets level, the gravity. That thing's gonna wanna drop down.
Yeah.
And somehow, when you're in the car, you gotta get this up underneath that arm. That's what people don't do. They just stick it in and it doesn't go in the right place, then you got big troubles. So this is why this is just a nice time to do it. If it was a Hemi, you can't because it doesn't get painted with the engine. But being a 440, it gets painted with the engine.
Perfect.
So, let's go ahead and put the timing cover on now. Have you replaced the front seal in it yet?
No.
Not yet? Okay. That's all right. That's okay, Mickey. You're doing a good job, buddy. I'm training you well. One day when you're doing this and you're just flying through it and everybody says, oh, you're the man, try not to forget who taught you, okay?
I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. The 446 pack engine, for me, to own one and to drive one and actually factory performance, I'd take it over the Hemi. In the world of Mopar, 446 pack is only trumped by one other magic word, and that's Hemi. Why don't you start working on putting the head gasket on?
Okay.
Show you what's got to go down there. You've never worked on one of these OEM ones like this, so want to make sure certain holes are lined up, certain ones aren't. Most of the time you can't screw it up. I always like to be sure. Your hand will pull lint off when a rag won't. So it's nice just to make that trip. I already cleaned this with brake clean and a pig wipe.
Okay.
So if we lay that up there where we believe it goes, we've got our centering dowels here. We've got a water jacket, looks like it goes into that nicely. Goes into that water jacket nicely, and that one. Remember the 400 we just did?
Mm-hmm.
Only had one back here. Here's our oil lifter hole. Remember, that's a very important little component there that we like. Okay,
Yep.
So that's ready to take a head on.
Okay.
The heads are the same left to right, so you want to turn it over. Make sure the mating surface is nice. Get you a pig wipe and some brake clean, and go over that real quick, please. The build out on the 440 went beautiful. Mike's really learning a lot over there. It's fun to have people that can absorb what you're saying, learn, be able to walk away and know that they finished the job. Really, that's what brings us so fast into the paint booth with the engine, is that I'm getting good help, we're getting good production, we're getting organized around here. Next step is to assemble a few pieces on it, get it put on the engine run stand, put the carburetors on it, fire it off, and it's ready to go in the car.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report.
At Graveyard Carz, we bring dead cars back to life. When the show was actually getting started, one of the requirements was a fire-rated door to separate the actual assembly room from the rest of the shop. I reached out, did a little bit of searching online, and I came across Cooks and Cornell. So with that, it was a no-brainer that when we moved into the new shop, we had a requirement for mini doors, and especially our focal point door, the main one in the shop that separated the body from the assembly. Honestly, it was a no-brainer. With the door being so big and such a focal point of the shop, it was very important that the design on it was right. So I went to Dan Bernard. He works for us here at the Division Productions. Really talented young guy. Gave him kind of an idea or a scope of what I wanted to see in the way of a finished product, and man, he just took it from there and created this amazing graphic. Built it in a size, a file that they could actually make into a powder coating for the door. To be able to come in here and revamp the building with all new doors with companies like Cooks and Cornell helping us out with the installation. Now the doors match the building that we've completely revamped, as well as the multi-million-dollar cars that are sitting inside of it. Graveyard Carz, we stress the fact that we are the best of the best at what we do, and that we care more than even the manufacturer did when they put the cars together. Maybe they couldn't afford that luxury, we can, and we do. And it shows every time somebody walks through that door.
First eyewitness accounts of this grisly development came from people who were understandably frightened. thinnest evidence that the unburied dead are coming back to life.
With the assembly done on the 446 pack, it's time to move it over to the engine run stand. We have some plumbing to do that is necessary at that point. But once we get the plumbing done, we get all the wires hooked up, we get the fuel hooked up to it, it's ready to fire off. That's a very fun part of the job. 184. And the importance of running an engine on a run stand, if you have one, can't be understated. That's why it is now standard operating procedure that every engine we build or our machine shop builds goes on the engine run stand before it goes over to paint. You ready? Damn that mother humper off.
It's still
Way
really
retarded. The 446 back engine fired right up, had a little bit of playing around with the distributor and the timing, but overall it fired up and ran really good, really strong. It's gonna fly down the road. So it's a load off my mind to know that it's running, that it doesn't have any problems, and that we're gonna be able to enjoy the final rest of the build on the car. Sound better? I'm considerably relieved that we didn't have any kind of internal problems. You always run the risk. You've just had an engine completely apart, which has hundreds of parts in it. You have rod bearings, main bearings, cam journals, all have to be mic'd, all have to be plastic gauged. These are within thousandths of an inch. I mean, your eye can't even see it. With all the assembly built out and the engine running good on the engine run stand, the detail work done, we are now ready to install the 446 pack with the K-member and suspension in the front of the car and the big 354 Dana in the back of the car. Drive shaft in the middle, couple exhaust pipes, and you got yourself a drivetrain. Having Alyssa back so far has really proven to be a lot of fun. She's diving into the book. She's learning about the finer points of detail, which is a very important part of any restoration. And so I'm proud of her. She's doing a good job, and I'm glad she's back. I really am. The white X on the back of the thing, okay? And then wherever the white gobs were, read through there and find out where all those go. Nice and solid. Don't let it move. Getting pretty good there, youngin'.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Fruit of my loin.
Nope.
Seed of my...
Nope. Daughter.
My daughter. Alyssa did a great job on the markings. She's really coming along. She cut her teeth on the Dodge Charger, but on this Challenger, I didn't have to guide her. She knew what she was doing. She went right in, she went to the book, she got the stamps out, she got the colors out, put her little funny gloves on, and bam, she went off to work. It looks right. I double checked it for correctness. Phenomenal job. And look at there, now we got a rear end in a car. Nice, okay. See what it's, okay, now go ahead and put the nut and the lock nut on there. With the paint markings now done correctly on the transmission and the rear axle for our Challenger, it's time to install them in the car. Probably close to get started. There are more. Yeah. Ready? Keep coming, looking good, Rollo. Looking better good to me. Beautiful, look at that. We did really well today. It was Alyssa and Royal and myself. Carz 1970 446 pack 4-speed track pack Dodge Challenger has now got its drivetrain in its original numbers matching 440 HP2, but it is the numbers matching original V code 446 pack 390 horsepower and 70 and 385 horsepower and 71 installed in the car with the Hemi 4-speed with the correct numbers on the transmission, which are on the side of the transmission.
677.
Beautiful. That's the last 3 digits of the part number. See? Seed of my loin.
Nope.
Well, I don't know where you came from. If it
Daughter?
was the if it was the immaculate reception, you should be holding out for a lot more money. You know what I'm saying?
Daughter would be.
Dana is in, all detailed out. Nice job. What's the part number on the Dana?
676.
No, that's the part number for the transmission for the Hemi 4-speed for the 70 Charger. What's the part number for the Dana for the 70 Challenger?
Don't remember.
Okay, and we're ready now to start assembling the rest of the car. Good job.
Sounds good, thanks.
Nice work. true or false? The 1970 Plymouth Cuda, the performance model, the 1970 Dodge Challenger RT performance model, both came standard with a blacked out rear body panel. The answer coming up after the break.
Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, this station will remain on the air day and night.
So true or false? Did the 70 Cuda and Challenger RT come standard with the blacked out rear body panel? The answer is false. However, the Cuda was required to have a rear body panel blackout on it in most cases. The Challenger did not.
This incredible story becomes more ghastly with each report.
Now that we have the drivetrain installed in our Challenger, everything's buttoned up underneath, it's time for the final assembly. So we're talking about doing all the rest of the seats, the ornamentation, the underhood plumbing. This car will shortly be ready to head over to the alignment shop.
When it comes to assembly, I can do it hands down. I've done it for several years, and I can basically look at any nut and bolt, bracket, any type of hardware for a car and tell you exactly what car it fits and where it goes. Well, Larry's getting ready to do the vinyl top, so it's a great opportunity for me to get upstairs and get through the parts department, find some parts that I need for the car. Any downtime, it's useful to find parts and get all my nuts and bolts and everything ready for my next project on the car. Then after that, I guess Royal and Mark are going to install the accurate exhaust system in the car. So looking forward to seeing that.
Before Royal and I jump on the final assembly of some of the pieces for the Challenger, such as our accurate exhaust, I'm going to get Dave over and have him help me install the fuel tank. This is kind of a two-guy job because you have to guide the fuel filler in at the same time. The cool thing is once that's done, we can install the actual flip-top gas cap, the iconic, not on every RT, flip-top gas cap. One of my favorite parts of all these cars. We're hoping to get the bumper on, exhaust system on. We have wiring under the hood to do, vinyl top moldings, and then there's about a half a dozen small things underneath the car that we need to get buttoned up. But that car's moving along really fast. We're doing awesome on it. Beautiful, look at this. Here's the thing putting vinyl top moldings on. Body men don't always take the time to look out for the guy that's got to assemble the car later. And so inside there, where the clip goes, there's a stud on the clip, and then it has to have a nut put onto it. That's what retains it in place. There's welding slag where the quarter meets the roof on this one, and that welding slag is in the way of him being able to start the actual nut on there. So he's either going to try to knock that welding slag off there or going to have to grind it off of there so he can get a footprint for that nut to go in place. All right, good job, Rollo.
Nice.
The vinyl top moldings are on. We got all the exhaust system out for the Challenger right now. This is unique to the 446 pack. The 444 barrel used a different system and the Hemi used a different system, as did of course the LA engines and the 383s. But this is unique and correct for our 6-pack Challenger. Left header pipe, piece of cake. Where's the next pipe?
Right here, Andy.
On the steering column on our 70 446-pack 4-speed Challenger in Plum Crazy Purple was basically we had a really good steering column for a 70 RT Challenger. It was just set up for a manual steering box, and our 6-pack car had a power steering box, so it needed a shorter shaft. So we just swapped the shafts out in the steering column to a shorter shaft. So after going through all that and getting everything greased and oiled, making sure everything works, and we were ready to go. Larry's getting ready to put in the headliner. Royal's going to put in the radiator shroud and battery tray and button up some things underneath the hood of the car. I'm going to try to help him as much as I can, but I'm going to gather up the bows and all the bow hardware and stuff for the headliner for Larry to make his job that much easier.
It's great to be working on another Challenger. I have fun working on all the cars. It's really great to see another purple one come through. because I know purple was a top color in 1970. I'm really excited that the cars are being done faster. We're getting more cars through. We're spending less time on the cars, yet able to do the quality work that we want to do. I guess what keeps me going about the E-bodies and B-bodies is I know I got an A-body coming up pretty soon. I think the purple Challenger with a white top turned out beautiful. It really has some cool options, 446 pack, 4-speed, wheel open moldings, white top, really makes that purple pop. It was just a beautiful car.
The headliner looks fantastic. Larry does great work. It's a workout. I have to hand it to him. That's one thing. I've done headliners. I don't like to do them. Larry makes it look easy. It's great to have him around.
Now that we have the drivetrain installed in our Challenger, everything's buttoned up underneath, it's time for the final assembly. So we're talking about doing all the rest of the seats, the ornamentation, the underhood plumbing. This car will shortly be ready to head over to the alignment shop.
Well, I'm here just kind of going over our 70 Dodge Challenger 440 6-pack 4-speed car. Just kind of doing a little QC check on this. We're getting really close. We're missing some parts. Everything in this car, you know, everything has a place. You know, to do it OE, all your wiring harnesses got to be routed a certain way. All your vacuum lines, PCV line, brake booster lines, heater hoses, everything's got a specific way and a specific order it's got to go in. So we just kind of eyeball it and kind of go through and make sure everything looks good. You know, the majority of the motor and everything's all hooked up, everything's wired up. Waiting on little things like period-specific radiator cap, the brake, you know, master cylinder we can't put in because the steering column's got to go in first because it makes it a little bit easier to get to the coupler and everything, hook up the steering column. You know, the big piece of this puzzle is the dashboard. As you can see, you know, we got the majority of our interior in. Got our center console here kind of mocked up. Shifters in place. All heater box, all our clutch pedals, gear lines, vent cables, everything's routed. Door panels are on. Carpet is basically in. Still need to steam it, get some of the wrinkles and stuff out. Back seats in, rear door panels, headliner. The big piece of this puzzle is right there, the dashboard. Till that dashboard comes in, you're just kind of stuck. You know, you can't do kick panels, you can't do your A-pillar moldings, can't get your visors and none of that stuff in there. Rear view mirror. It's frustrating when you get near a deadline like this and there's just one major piece of the puzzle that holds you up, but that's what we run into. You know, it's just the nature of the beast. You know, you just got to work with what you got and go as far as you can and move on to the next car. And when your parts come in, it's gangbusters to get it done. Yeah, the more stuff you can kind of pick at, get a lot of the little things done now, the better it is in the future. But it's coming beautiful. It's a beautiful car. It's looking really nice. I just want to get it done.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
First eyewitness accounts of this grisly development came from people who were understandably frightened.
Well, I'm so glad this dash is finally here, Mike.
Last piece we were waiting on.
Yeah, still a bunch more pieces to go in, but this is definitely the piece of the puzzle we needed. Finally got our dash back from Instrument Specialties. Did a fantastic job rebuilding the dash. It looks awesome. Once we get our heater cables on the new dash, we can put it in our 70 Challenger RT 446 pack Plum Crazy Purple car. We're ready to put her in. Ready, Mike?
Let's do it.
Okay, thanks to Mike, we got our dash finally bolted in place. We just got to do a couple more bolts on it and get our cables hooked up and all our wiring. Now that the dash is installed, I can get everything buttoned up, all the A-pillar moldings, sun visors and all that, get the windshield installed, get all the windshield trim on, and we're down the road. This baby's almost done. Now it's a matter of just a day's worth of work and we'll be done with this car.
So So as
You want
everybody
my hat?
knows,
You want my hat on?
we got our Challenger finally done.
His hat off?
Take your stupid hat off. Nobody wants to see that.
I don't want any more
Nobody
gold
wants
jokes.
that. Take that.
I think you should leave it on.
Leave it on if you want to. Royal's had a seizure.
Let's hope
Have I really beat you down to that point where you get a $9 Halloween wig and wear it around here?
Yes, you have.
That's sad, man. I'm a sick man.
Sometimes.
I need help. This is amazing, you guys. This is actually amazing. This is history in reverse, not just because we built the car and put it back together again, but for the fact that in 1970, Dodge has this idea for a pony car called the Dodge Challenger, and one of their top new colors was the FC7 Plum Crazy. 2014, is that 44 years later?
Yeah.
They come out with a Plum Crazy Challenger, and look at the similarities between these two cars.
Colors are really close.
And it's funny because that one has pearl in it. The 14 has pearl in the paint, where they don't, of course, have pearl back in those days. It was all solid colors. But yet, this one flops harder than that one does.
Quality of the paintwork on this one, far superior than that one.
Well, I wouldn't get crazy on it. I mean, you know, this one's been cut and buffed. Who can cut and buff
Well,
that? I know what you're doing, and I don't like it. Not everything's to stage up like you're the man.
I'm just pointing out the difference.
Yeah, no, it looks good. It looks great. That's why I guided you to paint it like that. But look into this one, and then walk over and look right into this one here. The metallics almost look the same. Those are a little bit bigger.
Well, you have pearls in that one. That's the difference.
No.
Oh.
No.
PPG would beg to differ.
The headlights are inset, just the same.
The same, I know. I just can't get over how much bigger the new one is.
Looks like Will painted this.
What's that?
Looked like you might have painted this, the two-tone.
Was that a factory option on 2014?
No, it wasn't, but I'm sure you were on the assembly line working on it.
Skinnier, it's a little bit narrower.
It's taller, but that has more ground clearance.
Yeah.
Watch that backup light. That's the coolest thing in the world right there.
Yeah,
Is that cool?
that's really cool.
And the exact same thing on this car over here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, there is no doubt that they tried to make this car emulate that car
Yeah,
in every way that they probably could.
exactly.
Forget money. You just want to look the best you can look. You want to drive a car that's the funnest to drive. Which of those two cars do you put the key in the ignition and drive out of here in?
Only one. The other one doesn't take a
Mine
key,
would
it's
be the
push
old
button
one.
start.
Well, it still has a key fob. Don't get lost.
You think
in
you're
the
missing the
background.
point.
Which one would you pick?
I do the old one.
I put
Hands
the
down.
wheels off this one onto that one and pick the old one.
And that based on looks?
Oh, looks, sound, performance, everything else. Just
Yeah.
old school. I'm all for the old school.
When you
I
let-
love the new car.
When you
but
sink your foot into that accelerator, it is a different feel. But if you stomp that one, this one will not set you in the seat. That one will set you in the seat. I had one of the camera boys, he's kind of deformed now because he was hunched down in the seat so the camera guys wouldn't see him. And I stomped it and I snapped his neck.
Really?
Which camera guy was it?
Remember that dude I tore up his muffin? Get your muffin, mother. How do you like that?
That's my muffin. That's my muffin. She just killed my. That was my muffin.
Because I had a mistake with the other guy.
I know which one that
Killed
is.
his muffin,
I
yeah.
killed his muffin.
Killed my muffin.
Well, I thought he hid my coffee, you know. We'll think about that later. What do you think, guys? You want to hop in and go for a ride?
Oh, this is I love this car.
It really handles like it's on rails.
It's a cool car.
It is. It's so nice. It's amazing.
These ride nicer, they look better.
They
but
do.
That's
There's
like
a
40
lot
years
more.
of technology.
Yeah.
You know what I love when I'm in these old cars? Is you can hear them.
Yeah.
You can hear those gears.
Oh, yeah.
You know where you're going?
Wow.
That sucker
Wow.
just pulls, don't it?
It just, that's a mid-range.
It does. It
My
just
car
goes.
doesn't pull like that. I know it'll beat it
Yeah.
in a quarter mile, but my car does not pull like that.
You just feel that.
You feel that inertia going back in the
every
seat.
time. That's awesome.
We did get kind of screwed at driving the old one, though.
Yeah.
This thing's badass, isn't it? Oh, I love this car.
That feels good. There's no way that
we're not giving it
doesn't
back.
feel good.
The other one, you got to move the steering wheel a half a turn for it to turn.
I don't want to give it back. Numbers matching 70 Challenger
God.
RT 446 pack, 4-speed, through 4 Dana, white vinyl top, plum crazy, no stripe, console shift, numbers up the crap shack, broadcast sheet,
all there,
fender tag. It's just everything's right.
One of the coolest things about these cars is they're so close to matching the old ones.
Yeah. Hey, handles great.
It holds the road.
Oh yeah.
For old bias ply tires.
Yeah.
Might as well be Maypops.
Oh, I know, exactly.
I used to drive around on Maypops all the time.
Yeah, no low profile fancy jobbers here,
weird
man.
rubber
You can feel
band
this thing
tires.
lean.
Yeah.
The colors really are really darn close, except for the pearl at this.
They're close, but they're still a mile off.
Dave, you did a great job. I just gave you the tools to do it with, but you did the job. Will did a great job painting
It's a group effort.
It was.
Crew. We got the best crew.
You got Mike out there building the engine. You got Will painting them. You're putting them together, and I'm torturing y'all while it's going on. That's what we do at GYC. We take dead cars that nobody cares about.
Yep.
Don't act like you care because you didn't care. Yep. And we bring them back to life. Now that the car's done, it's heading back to Connecticut. That's where the customer lives that had it. He's super excited. He's seen all the photos of it. It's been a dream for him. I believe he owned that car for 15 years and just sitting in the state that you saw it when it got here. And so I don't think he ever imagined, he probably imagined that it would be done, but I don't think he ever imagined it would be done like this, and also talked about in every forum on the internet because of Graveyard Cars. So.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful car.
Yeah, amazing. Everything lines up. I mean, we drove it over the railroad tracks. It's just nice and quiet, no bangs, no shakes, no nothing. I mean, you would never think that car was, what, 45 years old?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just using my hands. I like to talk with my hands.
Yeah, I was showing that as a
Why
whole.
have you eaten your fingernails all the way up to the knuckle? That's bizarre.
It's a tough call. You know, I really like these old cars. They're so much fun. I don't remember them being as much fun to drive as the new ones. As it stands now, I'd still like to drive a new one.
I'd definitely pick the old one over the new one. I'm more old school. I love the new Challenger. I love how it looks like the 70 Challenger, but I would take the old one over any day over the new one. Just for the feel, the sound, that's just what I'm used to.
Good times, man. You're welcome, sir. You, sir, are welcome. Because if it wasn't for me, you'd still be over there in that little medical building working with a bunch of gals, eating too much. You put some weight on when you left here. So, just saying, maybe a modicum of credit wouldn't be out of line.
I said thank you.
And you're welcome.
Okay.
This thing here with a six-pack, I'd have never dreamed of driving a car like that, you know, back in the day. I mean, you just seen them, but it's not something that you would just jump in and drive. And to get the opportunity to drive, it was awesome. It was a beautiful car.
With our 1970 Dodge Challenger RT en route to the East Coast, there's no time to screw around. We got one more car that's got to get done. Our 1970 426 Hemi Charger RT.
Unburied dead are coming back to life.